welcome to Comedy Tweetup. I'm truly grateful to have you all here. Fortunately, I know most of you, but they say your toughest audience is the audience of your peers, so be gentle. It's kind of funny how this started out, in that we have somebody in the crowd that was good enough to give us about 6 tickets to the Punchline. Well, Lisa Ann Taylor out there in the middle and her boyfriend. And it's kind of funny how this worked out, and that every one of us became Shayla Rivera junkies. And I think you're going to be really excited now. We're going to have to wait till the end of the program, which means you're going to have to take some time, buy some more raffle tickets, see the vendors, help support this wonderful cause, because even though we're going to make light of it, it's real important that we are serious and that this is a real serious situation. We've got a really young girl who was involved in a bicycle accident, went head first into a stationary object. She's in a coma, or has been in a coma, making slight recovery, and her family needs money. They had to relocate in order to be closer to her. So with that in mind, we're still going to try to put the fund into fundraising if we can, okay? So first thing I want to do is get used to clapping. Start. This allows me to feel like I'm master of the universe. I haven't been on the stage in 2 years. And I was dancing at Fest of Sacramento, and Cindy wouldn't let me dance, so I didn't even try it. So I'm here for this. Something's kind of interesting is this is a tweet up, and it's kind of a new phenomenon. Sacramento, I just found the more recent data. They are #4 in the United States in tweet activity.
Really?
Yeah. #4. And that's taking into account cities like San Francisco and New York that are ahead of them.
Wow.
So there's no city probably in the world that's our size that has the online activity that we have. It's amazing. So what happens is now we've got technology and we can do things like go to Hootsuite. It's where you thought I was on Facebook all the time, and I was able to post and schedule a notice to go out every 2 hours, Saturday morning at 9, when it was most active. And it helped us get some people here, and the thing that's most important is that out of the kindness of your hearts, I'm sure some of you had other things to do and you were good enough to come, so I really appreciate it. One thing Cindy wanted me to talk about was how we happened to meet Shayla, and I'm actually really blessed to have met her, even though we've only talked like about 45 seconds. And a lot of online activity. But what happened was, Cindy will tell you more of the details, but we were at the comedy show, and frankly, she was amazing. She followed 2 people that I thought bombed. I really didn't like them at all. And she saved the day and came in like the white knight on the horse, and it was amazing. So we went outside to talk to her. Cindy had her motives, I had mine. We both went up with business cards. Cindy came out with a friend, and she'll tell you how she did that because she is the master of follow-up. That's what she does for a living. On the other hand, I'm a salesman, and I thought, well, let's see, she could afford to come up from Hollywood. Maybe she could be a client one of these days, but I'll give her my card and at least be a friend on Facebook. And what happened was a little bit different, is that I talked to her, and I was a little intimidated because if you haven't noticed, she's also pretty. And even though I'm older, there's nothing wrong with my eyesight, so what I did is I went up and talked to her, and I didn't really know what to say, so I went up like Beavis and Butthead, like, I'm Randy, I like him like really tall. Here's my card. And then I thought of saying, okay, well, you probably don't know this, but she really is a rocket scientist. So if someone says comedy isn't rocket science, that's not Shayla Rivera. She's both. And she's not only talented and pretty and everything, but she was intimidated, so I went up to her and I was thinking, saying, well, maybe I'll try this. You like Star Trek? You know Captain Kirk? Well, I'm thinking of continuing my 20-year journey of exploring other areas, and I was hoping you would take me to places that no man has ever been before. And of course that didn't work, so she's my friend on Facebook, and I'm grateful for that. I found something interesting today, getting back to business. It's funny how things happen. Some things are for a purpose, I think. And Robbie Ricks from Fast Signs was good enough at the last minute to donate this awesome sign for us. And we really appreciate it. I probably should give him a clap. I might ask you to clap several times and even a cheer, even if I make a joke and it works by some chance, by accident. I want you to go like this. Okay? So what happens is, what happened with the Robbie Ricks thing? Okay, I was talking to him and he said, I just got this great tip, so I can't take credit for it. Because we're talking about tweeting and things like that and being more active online. Frankly, the thing we're overlooking is it's free advertising. Okay, and there's not a lot of things in this economy that are free. But what happens is, he tells me, well, there's this great site. Write it down. Tweet it to someone else. Remember it. It's called namecheck.com. It allows you to go to one site, first check and see if any of the names that you want to use, like for a Twitter address, are already taken. And it allows you to register for about 150 sites at once. So it's awesome. You need help with it. We happen to have somebody in the room that would be more than happy to help you set anything that up, which is our host, Chef Cindy. Okay. Well, anyway, so the next thing, what I was thinking of is, it's funny when we're getting back to how things start for a purpose. I literally fell asleep on the couch watching TV a couple days ago, and I swear I'm not exaggerating. I woke up with the comedy show on. And you know how you hear comedians always talking about, I won't try to put a visual thing, let's leave that to the professionals. But you know how comedians and comedians are always talking about, complaining about their GPS units, okay? I wouldn't have got here if it wasn't for my GPS. I don't really have any problem with my GPS, but they're always saying, well, you know that woman on the GPS? Some other people have a Garmin and they have 3 choices of women. I have one, and I don't like her voice. I think the GPS on mine is pretty good. It's like, hey baby, you have a turn in 0.5 of a mile. The only problem is it's condescending. Yeah, really. So what happened was, I tried it the other day, and I really was trying to go to Jim Boys, who was good enough to give us some really nice gift certificates. Very generous, even though they couldn't make it here. And I found out a couple things. First thing I found out on my GPS was it was accurate, but when I went past the turn, you know how it says, it goes, recalculating. Again. So what happened is I found that sometimes technology isn't the answer for everything, because I called Jenny Davis, who was good enough to give me the address because she's connected with Jim Boys. So what happens is, okay, we'll have to wrap this up, I'm getting the hook. Okay, so what happens is, I go forward, I go backward, I do Google Maps to try and adjust. I couldn't find the place. She gave me the wrong address. So no matter how good your technology is, it doesn't necessarily work if you have the wrong address. However, with this thing, this little laser pointer thing, for $50, I can shoot an airplane out of the sky at 30,000 feet. So I'm embracing it. And I got about 60 seconds now. I've got to wrap it up. One of the things that we really should hit on almost the entire meeting is a line a saying that I heard from Brenda M., which basically says, we talk about edification. Cindy and I have been going back and forth on this, trying to get people to help each other online so that we can all move forward faster, and that she really is sincere. And what happened was, Brenda M. basically says, well, the Greek derivation means lift people up. So the bottom line is, if you're going to make a comment on Facebook, don't just say, I went to the Comedy Tweetup and I at Randy Taylor, Christina Prasad, Robert Lockwood. That puts your face on their page, but it doesn't really help them. If you help them with their business and say, I met Robert Lockwood and he had an awesome idea on how I could do some online advertising, how I could create some 3-fold brochures, now you've done something. So what I want to do now is introduce our host, Chef Cindy, and I can't hardly say enough good things about her. What happened is we met at a networking meeting, Arden Arcade, and kind of like Shayla Rivera, my first reaction was, this is a cool business card, and she's pretty. Too bad she's young. And that's true, so that was my reaction. So we didn't talk for a few months, and then I ran into her, maybe something happened where I ended up going down to speak at the Vacaville meeting. And from there I found out she was really sincere and she's been helping everybody. One of the things people don't know about Chef Cindy is she raised about $9,000 creating her own event without a lot of publicity. She just did it on her own to try and help people. And that's the kind of thing that's got me closer to her, and I really am not afraid to admit that even though I'm an old dog, I can learn new tricks, and she's my accountability partner. If I have an idea, I bounce it off her, she says no, it's a bad idea, and then I do it anyway. So without further ado, Cindy is miraculous. You got to get to know her to really appreciate her like I do. But let's give her a warm round of applause and have Cindy come up.
Thank you. I like to tell the story here about the comedy. So, Miss Lisa, she put a post, it was about 4 months ago, and she put a post on Facebook. Hey, listen, we have 10 tickets to the comedy show over at the Punchline. Who wants to go? Hey, I'm going to go. So I told Randy, yeah, let's go. I took my boyfriend and a realtor friend of mine from Vacaville, and we all met at the Punchline. And at the end of the event, I took a picture of Shayla and I actually friended her on Facebook. And I always follow up with her. How you doing? A couple of months ago, I followed up with her. And she's like, oh, I see you do a lot of fundraisers. You know, I do this Women's Wear Red thing, you know, every February. Would you be interested in doing it? I said, oh, yes, let's do this thing. So that's actually our upcoming event. But then when all this happened with Miss Sydney, I asked her to come down here. So I really appreciate it. Let's give Shayla a big hand. I want to talk about another social media story. I don't know if any of you guys know, but do you actually... Let's see, let me pick someone out. Let's see. Mel, how many friends do you have?
1,050.
So have you taken the time to meet them on the phone, like say Skype, or you know, on the computer, or off the computer and meet, like say at Starbucks?
I do it as often as I can.
Okay, not very many of us do that, and that's really what I want to try to get. I actually do some workshops where I talk about that. It's really important that we not only get to know our offline contacts, we also do the same with our online contacts. I mean, I have about 2,100 friends. Locally in Vacaville's about 300, and in Sacramento I got like 300 or 400. So that's like 700 people I know that I can connect with. And even if we're not going to do business together, if I know, like, and trust them, or they know, like, and trust me, they're going to refer me all day long. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some Twitter tips. This is just what people see on your Twitter, and that way it'll help you get more followers. So you're going to become social. Right, Randy?
Absolutely.
You got to make sure that you're on there, out of sight, out of mind. You got to be there all the time. You know, maybe like 3 times a week. You just got to get your face out there. You got to connect with people, and it, you know, it works with the same as offline. Someone friends you on Twitter, get to know them. You know, start building that relationship. You want to have an impressive bio, an eye-catching Twitter background. Take the time to connect. Like I said, call or meet for coffee. You want to keep in touch. The fortune is in the... Thank you. And this is like everybody has business cards, right? It's the cheapest form of advertising. So maybe on the back of your business card, you'll have the little follow me logo and with your Twitter address. QR codes. Anyone have a QR code? Mel, what's a QR code?
I have no idea, but I have one.
Randy?
QR stands for quick response, and it's anything that could be a URL address can be put in a postage size stamp like this. And it can add, literally, I think, hell, 3,000 characters, photographs, everything.
Well, I want to go through kudos really quick. I'd like to thank Mr. Gill. Thank you very much for coming out today.
Yeah, definitely.
Randy Taylor. Dan and Glenda Simpson. Leslie Smith. Passion parties. Pampered Chef. Choose Heart Health. We have Aaron with Raining Ribbons. Scentsy Candles, Nancy West. Light Your Wireless, Dick Larson. Marine Fair with Jewel K. Susan Bagley with, what's that, Neck on Health? Neek and Health. Nita with Mona V. Rose Hernandez, Gigi Hill. Brian Barnes with Photo Sign Writers right there in the back. Becky Sewell with Ebony Star Fashions. I'm sorry, that's Betty. And James and Charlotte with New Skin. I also like to give a big thanks to the Oak Point Event Center for giving us this venue. Thank you very much. Randy, you have anything to add? Okay.
Okay, this is kind of fun. Once again, you get to be on stage.
We have to do the raffle next. Sorry.
Okay, well, raffle next?
Yeah.
That's not nearly as exciting as Shayla Rivera.
Well, Shayla, go ahead.
Okay, by the way, how much does this job pay?